Before I start this, I just want to say rest in peace to Anton Yelchin. You're still very missed, my friend, and you were an actor that had a lot of potential, and unfortunately, you were taken from this world way too soon. Rest in peace. Hey, what's up, you guys? Film fan 0599 here again, and today we're going to review Thoroughbreds. So, Thoroughbreds stars Olivia Cooke, Anna Taylor-Joy, and Anton Yelchin. And what this film is basically about, it's about when this girl, these girls have been friends for a while, and this one is like really weird, played by Olivia Cooke. And, Anya Taylor-Joy's character has a stepfather. And she doesn't really like him. So what Olivia Cooke comes up with is, why don't you just kill him? So now they're going to try and find a way to kill her stepdad. So what did I think of Thoroughbreds? Now, going into this, I didn't really know too much. I did see one trailer for it, and that was about it. And I didn't really have too many expectations going into the film. But, it got some good reviews, and, some of my friends have said some good things about it. So, I was like, okay, hopefully, this could be as good as everyone says it is. For me, I personally found the movie to be very dry. And I get that's what the movie was going for, but it necessarily didn't work for me, honestly. I felt that it's very dry and very, this emptiness didn't work. And the perfect way to describe it is it's very dry and very forgettable. Like, I almost instantly forgot this movie after I was done watching it, to be honest. It just doesn't stick with you at all, to be honest. It really doesn't. At least for me, it doesn't. It really doesn't stick out, or it's like, oh, it's gonna stay in your mind forever. No, it's an instantly forgettable and dry movie for me, and I really didn't enjoy this film, to be honest with you. For a good majority of it, I was pretty bored, to be honest with you. This movie is really not that good. But let's get into my positives, because I do have positives with the film. And my positives are, first being the acting. The acting was actually pretty good in the film. I thought Olivia Cooke was really solid in the movie. I quite enjoyed her in the film. She was good. I did enjoy her in the film. She did give a good performance. Same goes with Anna Taylor-Joy. I thought she was pretty good in the movie as well. She gave a pretty solid performance, in my opinion. And Anton Yelchin, who I thought was the one that was really trying to bring the most in this film. Like, just trying to bring some type of energy and non-dryness to this movie, I thought. Like, I really thought he was the only one that was trying not to bring any dryness. He was trying to bring some type of energy. And, I really thought out of anything in this movie, he was really the only one that was bringing any sort of energy to this lifeless movie. So, the acting, I'll say, is pretty good. I want to say the last act of the movie is actually pretty good. I did like the last act of this movie, really, honestly, I did like it a lot. And, I was like, okay, finally, something is happening, something's going on, something, things are starting to pick up, like, I'm actually interested, you know what I mean? Like, I thought, it did, pick up. I thought there was some really good stuff in there in that last act of the film. And I thought, okay, this is actually really good. But that's necessarily just the last act. I will say the directing is pretty good. I thought it was very well shot, very well edited. The cinematography was very good with the movie too. So yeah, it's a very well shot movie. The directing is actually pretty solid with the film. I will say that I did like the directing with the movie. And lastly, sometimes the pacing was pretty good. There were some points where I thought the movie moved at a nice pace at times, and that's really about it. And that's really the only positives I can come up with for this film, to be honest with you. So let's just get straight into the negatives. And my negatives are, First being the characters. Well, I thought the acting was pretty solid in the film. The characters themselves are not that interesting to me. I found them to be you're gonna hear me use these words a lot throughout this review because it's really the main thing I can describe anything in this movie. It's the characters are very wooden. The characters are kind of just one-dimensional for me. I didn't really find them to be very interesting, honestly. Like, I felt like they were very one-noted for me. I didn't find them all that interesting, to be honest. Like, I thought they could have done a way better job with these characters, to be honest. And I just didn't really find myself invested into these characters, to be honest. I found them very kind of lifeless and bland. Same goes with the story. The story is kind of very bland, honestly. Like, I wasn't invested into it for the most part, honestly. Like, I felt very bored by it. Like, nothing was, like, grasping me. Nothing was, like, grasping me with this story, to be honest with you. Like, nothing was just grabbing my attention until, like, the last couple of minutes of the film. That's really when it was grabbing my attention, to be honest. For the good majority of it, it just wasn't grabbing my attention, honestly. Like, it just wasn't grabbing me and just, like, pay attention. No, it was just kind of like, like, just the story was not interesting for me. I felt like just a couple of the characters' motivations and stuff like that were a little bit too odd. I just thought they just didn't work. Honestly, like, it just didn't feel like, it just didn't really mesh all that well with me. I just thought they didn't do a necessarily good job with it, to be honest. Like, I just thought they just did a very poor job with it, honestly. I thought the way that they handled it in this movie was not that great. The writing is really, really bland. It really is. The writing is very, very bland with this movie. I thought the writing was not that great with this movie, to be honest. I thought a lot of the dialogue was very just lifeless and kind of just bland. Like, it's the best way I could put it, honestly. And it's just, I didn't really think they did a great job of that. And lastly, the movie just, it's very boring. It's just, it really is. I thought the movie was very, very boring. It moves at such a slow pace. And just, if I'm not invested in your characters, your story, then I'm obviously going to be very, very bored throughout honestly, for a portion of the film. And I really was, to be honest. Like, nothing was really grabbing my attention for the most part. I thought the movie was very, very boring, honestly. And like I said, I felt like the dryness that they were trying to go for with the film did not work at all, honestly. Like, it just made the movie very just lifeless for me. I just didn't really like that, honestly. Like, it felt very lifeless, and it just didn't work, honestly. For me, it really didn't. I know it worked for a lot of people, and, you know, cool for you. I'm glad you found some likeness in that. But for me, just the dryness did not work with this movie at all, and it made it feel very, very lifeless and just boring. So overall, Thoroughbreds, I didn't necessarily hate this movie, but at the same time, I don't necessarily think this is a good movie either. I felt like that this is a very just dry, bland, lifeless, and forgettable movie, and something I'm not going to remember within, like, maybe, like, a day or so, honestly. Like, I've instantly almost forgotten about this movie after watching it, to be honest with you. Like, I really was. It's not that great of a film, and I really didn't enjoy it all that much. So it's time for my official grade on Thoroughbreds, and my official grade on Thoroughbreds is a C-. It's not that good, honestly. Like I said, it's a very just forgettable movie, and I really, really didn't enjoy it with some pretty lifeless characters, a very bland story, and just overall kind of a mess, honestly. Like, I didn't really enjoy this movie all that much. Thoroughbreds gets a C-. So, if you have seen Thoroughbreds, what did you think of it? Please leave it in the comment section below. And I'm FilmFan0599, and we will see you all later. Peace.